answer. Minister, I completely echo what you say, as well as my colleague from Newport West, that we owe an incredible debt to veterans. Research from the Royal British Legion revealed that members of the armed forces community are exposed to events and challenges that make them more vulnerable to loneliness and isolation. They found that 1 in 6 members of the ex-service community reported experiencing some relationship or isolation difficulty, the equivalent of around 770,000 people in the United Kingdom. As we all know, and I'm sure many of you have heard, loneliness is linked to high blood pressure, depression, anxiety, Alzheimer's, and an increase in the risk of premature death by 30%. People experiencing loneliness are more likely to visit GPs and hospitals and more likely to enter local authority care. So tackling loneliness and social isolation not only alleviates suffering of local residents, but is also an important part of preventative public health work. Local authorities, I'm sure you can appreciate, do play a key role in helping to reduce loneliness and social isolation in communities, and are ideally placed to understand the levels of loneliness in their areas. Specifically who and identify who is at risk and also to act upon it. What discussions have you had, Minister, with the local authorities to improve the measures that they can take and to help members of the armed forces who are feeling lonely or socially isolated? Thank you.
Thank you. Can I thank the member too for her question and her words of support for our armed forces, communities and veterans in Wales. And she rightly, points out some of the challenges that those who've served may face when they transition to civilian life as a consequence of their experience as well. And that's why we've made sure we've invested in things like Veterans NHS Wales, and including a 35% increase in investment support. But at a local authority level too, we are very proud of the work that our armed forces liaison officers are doing. And indeed, in conversations with counterparts in the UK government, they've been very keen to look at actually how we're doing that on the ground and how we can have that point of contact and to coordinate. So we do work closely with the AFLOs who are represented in Armed Forces Expert Group, also through the Welsh Local Government Association. But as always, we're always keen to build on that support, identify any continuing gaps and make sure veterans have that access to support. And I think one way to do it may be to make sure that we share with members more regularly things like the Veterans Gateway, so we can all be using our own networks to make sure people are aware of that as well.
Cwestiwn 2, Heledd Vychan.
Diolch, Llywydd. Pa gamau...
Thank you. What action is the Welsh Government taking to ensure that the membership of the boards of public bodies